It's a 50-50 chance. If you call tails or heads, you have a 50% chance of getting the right answer. When you flip a coin, you might be betting money, trying to make a difficult decision, or figuring out where you want to go eat. But what happens when you flip a coin to decide the future of an upcoming basketball superstar? The coin flip would decide career trajectories, a franchise's future, and the possibility of a future dynasty in the NBA. One of the most overlooked and important moments in NBA history would be decided by the flip of a coin. The year is 1979, and it's the NBA offseason. It's been 10 days since the Seattle Supersonics won the championship and Dennis Johnson won the Finals MVP. But they weren't the talk of the NBA. The basketball world had their eyes on the decision that would take place, giving a team the first overall pick in the 1979 NBA draft. And gifted with that pick would be a young 20-year-old Magic Johnson. Magic was coming off of a national championship with Michigan State and was labeled as a guaranteed to become a future NBA superstar and immediately impact a franchise. So who had the opportunity to draft a future NBA legend? It was between the Chicago Bulls and the Los Angeles Lakers. The NBA used to determine who would get the number one pick in the draft by, you guessed it, flipping a coin between the teams with the worst record in each conference. And in 1979, that would be between the Chicago Bulls and the New Orleans Jazz. But wait, didn't I say the Lakers? In 1979, the Lakers had a solid team and posted a record of 47-35, good enough for the playoffs. They ended up losing in the second round to the eventual champion Seattle Supersonics. So if the Lakers had a good team with a good record and made the playoffs, how did they earn the opportunity to draft first overall? Well, in 1976, Lakers player Gail Goodrich decided to leave the team in free agency and headed to the Jazz. And back then, when a team signed a player in free agency, they had to compensate the team he was leaving. Pretty wild, eh? Imagine that fucking shit today. Imagine what Cleveland would have gotten back when LeBron left for the first time, or when he left the second time, or what Miami could have gotten for a prime LeBron James. What would a free agency return look like for OKC when KD betrayed them in 2016? Or when Kawhi left the reigning champion Raptors and ruined any chance that they had of seriously competing for a championship again? It wouldn't be a bad idea for the NBA to bring this back. So many players abandon their teams in free agency, and if the team knew that they were going to leave ahead of time, they probably would have traded them for assets in return. But instead, teams are left in the dark when a franchise player leaves and they get nothing in return. Back to the 80s, the Lakers got the Jazz's first round pick in 1979, which now gives them an opportunity to draft Magic Johnson. The other team in the mix are the Chicago Bulls. At this point in time, the Bulls can use a point guard to support their future Hall of Fame big man in Artis Gilmore, and attempt to seriously contend for a championship in a few years. Chicago has had recent troubles in trying to get fans in the stands, and a flashy, smiling ear-to-ear point guard would fix all their problems. On the other hand, if the Lakers were to snag Magic, the rumblings of a dynasty would begin to be heard around the NBA. An all-time big man in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar paired up with arguably one of the best point guards to ever come into the NBA at the time, the Lakers would enter title contention immediately if the Bulls were to pick the wrong side of the coin. Without knowing it, one of the biggest moments in NBA history was happening. As the coin flipped in the air, the Bulls called heads. It landed tails. The Bulls earned the second overall pick in the draft, which got them David Greenwood.
Who?
He ended up having a decent NBA career, nearly averaging a double-double in his 10 years. But this second place trophy for the Bulls was no comparison to that magical, get it? First overall pick. Without hesitation, the Lakers selected Magic with their pick, and it's easily the best decision the Lakers have ever made as a franchise. Even though any team would have done the same exact decision in that same exact position, but yeah. Magic averaged 18, 7, 7, and 2 steals and became an all-star in his rookie season as he and Kareem formed a dynamic duo and instantly became favorites to win the championship. In the playoffs, Magic upped his game to another notch. Throughout the postseason, he averaged 18, 10, and 9, and 3 steals, including his historic performance in Game 6 of the NBA Finals. Kareem was injured and unable to play, so Magic made the decision as a 20-year-old rookie to play the game at center. And in one of the greatest performances in NBA history, Magic dropped 42 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals.
Are you going to play center on offense in this game?
Yeah, I will be changing from center to forward.
On certain plays, depending what play we call, I will be playing some center and forward.
Magic will come down the baseline, and Dawkins tied him up, scored, and sent Magic to the line. The 20-year-old rookie down the middle. Dawkins went to him and scored and sent him to the line. Magic, one hands the work. So beautiful pass. Magic down the middle. Magic pumps for the layup and drew the foul.
Magic's hot, and he knows it. Oh, what a pass to Cooper!
Here comes the 20-year-old rookie down the middle. Dawkins went to him and scored and sent him to the line. The most valuable player is Magic Johnson. 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. He starts at center, plays forward and guard.
The Lakers won the championship, and Magic was named Finals MVP. The incredible performances that he put on throughout the season and playoffs made it much more obvious that if the coin flipped another way, it would have changed the course of the NBA forever. The Lakers' dynasty was created by the flip of a coin. They would go on to win a total of 5 championships in 9 seasons, with Magic cashing in with 3 Finals MVPs and 2 regular season MVPs, among a long-ass list of accomplishments. In the moment of the coin flip, the Bulls were probably pissed that they missed out on Magic, but their day would come in 1984 when they drafted some dude named Michael Jordan. This Michael guy completely changed their franchise and was the face of the NBA and the face of one of the greatest dynasties of all time. But what if the coin flip landed on heads instead of tails? The NBA that we know today would be flipped upside down. What would the NBA look like if Magic was instead drafted to the Chicago Bulls? In an interview, Magic has said that if the Bulls had won the coin flip and gotten the first overall pick, he would have returned to college, and he didn't want to play for Chicago. He said the only reason he came to the NBA was because he wanted to play with Kareem and be a Laker. So in an alternate universe, where the Bulls win the coin flip, Magic decides to return to college for a 3rd year, and possibly playing a senior year as well. This means that he would have either become a Golden State Warrior or a Dallas Maverick, as each team had the first overall pick in the next 2 drafts. What seems like an innocent decision to return to college would have changed the history of the league that we know today. Does Kareem win 6 rings and become the all-time leading scorer without Magic? How many rings does Larry Bird have if the Lakers aren't in the picture? There's so many things that could have happened. But what's even more exciting to think about is what if the Bulls won the coin flip and Magic decided to play in Chicago? They'd probably end up being a pretty good team, just shy of title contention while implementing an all-time point guard into a solid team. But that means that they probably won't have the chance to draft Jordan in '84, and we miss out on a possible Jordan and Magic duo.
Boy, I was thinking about this today, how close you came to being drafted by the Chicago Bulls and how the whole, I mean, not just the Lakers in your career, everything would have changed had that happened.
Jimmy, no question about it. Can you believe that if I had went to the Bulls, there would be no Michael Jordan in Chicago?
Yeah, he would have probably been, he would have went right to the Wizards or something. Directly to
But that's lame as fuck to think about. So here's what my imagination thinks would happen. Chicago wins the coin flip and Magic ends up deciding to play for the Bulls, and they struggle early in his career trying to find the right chemistry, and Chicago management blows up the team and decides to rebuild around their star point guard in Magic, which leaves them with a few struggling seasons at the bottom of the standings. The team is terrible. It's Magic surrounded by a bunch of bums. That is until 1984. The Bulls are rewarded with the 3rd overall pick in the draft for being dog shit, and they select a man by the name of Michael Jordan. Magic and MJ click immediately. A high-flying and high-scoring shooting guard paired up with a flashy all-time passer. At only 21 and 24 years old respectively, they're prepared to take over the league. Bulls management makes some moves to get a solid surrounding cast around their young superstar duo, and just like that, they're in contention for a championship. In our reality though, Jordan became exhausted and opted for retirement in the prime of his career. But in our alternate reality, Magic takes immense pressure off of Jordan as the duo remains mentally and physically fresh throughout their 11-year career as teammates. The Bulls dominate the NBA and win a total of 8 championships in 11 seasons, including 2 three-peats and 1 back-to-back, with Magic and Jordan having 4 Finals MVPs each. They decide to retire at the tail end of the peak of their powers, leaving fans questioning if they could have railed off a couple more championships. But we'll never know. Even though a coin flip may have ruined our chance of seeing a Jordan and Magic duo, they still each won 5+ championships, they have their own dynasties, and are widely considered to be top 5 players in NBA history. As fans, we're disappointed, but as players, I'm sure they're doing just fine. In one of the most overlooked moments in NBA history, a coin flip would decide what the future of the league would look like today, and we know that it ended up being a win for the players, a win for the franchises, and more importantly, a win for the NBA.